special edition HPF episode of our Real Dad Movement podcast. We've got the master, Mr. Ken LaVanda. Good having you on, mate. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, good to be back, Al. Great to share some insights and some really, really cool stuff today. It'll be fantastic.
Into what? Looking younger every fucking week, mate. I see you look like 3 to 5 years younger. It must be the face of Father's
Benjamin Buttons. We'll go that down. Yeah, or something about Mary.
Yeah, that's right. Life's everyday challenges. Life's, the challenges of life, mate. I'm looking forward to this one. That is the theme that we're covering for you guys watching this or listening. And it's a really interesting one, Cam, because I've had this chat with a few of our guys where they're like, you know what, like what you guys do is incredibly deep, but a lot of the principles are simple. I'm like, well, yeah, they are, but that's because the way that we connect to the man, some of the simplicity is going to create a better foundation to be able to push the chaos and the bullshit and everything that keeps coming and hammering you every single day, that wants a piece of you, wants a slice of your attention, your energy, your focus, your time, all these things that are so valuable, but maybe you guys don't value it because you don't value yourself enough. Who knows? But you should. You definitely should. But that's the point, Ken. We're pushing all this chaos away so these guys can focus on their most important things on top of, or so they can enhance and perform in family, self, and service with the kids, with the work, with the wife, with the business. But mate, I'd love to get your take on this as we crack this one open on, life's everyday challenges and I guess some of the pitfalls, some of the problems, and then obviously we'll start to workshop the steps or the stepping stones to overcome them and have control again.
Yeah, mate, it's the reason why I want to go down this road is purely because when you look at what's going on in every day in everyone's life, there's so much stimulus within their life and what's going on from day to day. And look at the kids now also, like everything that's happening here is that we're being constantly bombarded with so much information. And, with the social media platforms, with work stress, with relationship, with business, with everything that's just kind of constantly stimulating what's going on within our life. If you go back 10, maybe a little bit further than that, 20, 30 years when I was a spring chicken and kind of coming from the country, there wasn't a lot of fast-paced stuff going on. Hey, our days were full from 4 a.m. through to 6, 7 at night. We always had stuff to do. But there was always a little bit of time in that day to take some time out for yourself. And really, that's when you start to reflect on things that are going on within your life. Am I actually better today than I was yesterday? Am I actually thinking about whether I want to be better today than I was yesterday? What's all of these things that are impacting me physically, externally, like from all the, I suppose, the social media stuff, the technology that's being introduced, all of these different things. And where we're at the moment, it's just pretty much sitting down and kind of going, okay, where was I like 5, 10 years ago? And what we've spoken about before, Al, there's not a lot of time in your life really for yourself and for everyone else around you, because now life is such a fast pace. We really need to sit down and go, okay, what do I want out of life? Or what do I want out of my life? And what am I going to do about it right now? Not tomorrow, not New Year's resolutions, none of this bullshit that people kind of, will come up with these goals down the track and whatever else. If we're going to make a decision, we're going to make change in our life, we're going to do it right now and we're going to start today. That's really what's important. So we've got to try and come up with a list of things that we want to make change within our life. And with the guys that kind of like with who we're engaging with and obviously with High Performance Fathers, what we're trying to do here is give them the best opportunity with the information that they're providing us. And we'll put that plan in place and give them some great direction. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? The whole, is it Tony Robbins? It's some magical wizard where focus goes, energy flows. And it's true. It is true. I do like it. It's catchy. Sounds good. I don't know who said it, but I've heard people say it. These guys, everyone, especially with things like the internet, technology, social media, but these guys who are entering that second half in life, Ken, and moving through where they just keep stacking, they're putting another hat on, another hat on, here's a different hat, here's a different hat. And all of a sudden, their focus is getting torn away. But then on top of that, they're not producing, like what you mentioned, just a little bit of time out for themselves. Like you can't slog your guts out and tie your rope up in knots and then think that you can just untie it by spending a few hours on your own every 8 months. You know, you can even 6 months, even 3 months. Like if you're flogging yourself for 3 months, what's going to be more beneficial? Is it flogging yourself for 3 months and then just having 2 days off completely, or over that 3-month period, every day taking half an hour, which would be less? Like that'd be less. Like if we did, all right, let's go 12 weeks, Ken, 7, that's 84, that's 42 hours. Like, would you rather have 2 full complete days of 48 hours at that 3-month mark when you're already fucked, or would you just give yourself half an hour a day and keep that rhythm and cycle as a human being to top yourself up? Because the reality is, mate, because they don't do that, it's a two-pronged approach, isn't it? Because they don't do that, they've got less juice to handle life, but then they don't feel like they can do it because of social media, technology, always focusing on something, always stimulating, always highlighting, and then not giving time to themselves. All the chaos of everyday challenges in life is actually pulling a little bit of energy away from them one at a time, isn't it? Like it's just taking bits and bits and bits, and then it's like, oh, there's nothing left. Well, of course there isn't. But what does this become, mate? Like, what do you see as a chronic pattern or behavior this becoming for a lot of men who you know, obviously can't handle life's everyday challenges because they're not, which we'll go through, they're not handling themselves properly first?
Oh, without a doubt, mate, their health, as in, is going to take a deep dive, a detrimental effect on their health, their well-being, and everyone around them. Like I use an example when I was only talking to some people yesterday, and we briefly had a discussion about this last night. A young guy, 32 years old, you know, kind of not really having any direction in life. And then all of a sudden overdose and then no longer with us. He's you know, he's dead through a drug overdose, not making, or no one really kind of checking in on him, and not having any direction in life. And the thing is, I suppose when it comes down to, obviously we've all made bad choices in life. And the thing is, what you've got to understand is that absolutely we've made bad choices, but when we look at the bad choices we've made, we've got to look at them and reflect on them and try and not make those same bad choices over and over again. And this is what constantly people are doing every day. When I talk to them about their nutrition, I talk to them about their exercise, I talk to them about their sleep, I talk to them about what they're doing, as in, you know, are they drinking alcohol? Are they taking drugs? What do they need as a stimulant just to kind of keep them chipping away over a 24, 48, 168 hour week? And we look at those 7 days that just flash by: 1 week, 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 5, 10, 15 years. And all of a sudden we look back and we have really no idea on what's going on. And this is what happens with poor health. And this is like what was spoken about previously about plugging the holes in the canoe. What happens is, you know, that thickness of the canoe, the layer starts to get thinner and thinner and thinner, and you'll get 1 hole, 3 holes, 5 holes, 10 holes in that canoe, and you'll be able to plug it up with 1 finger, 3 fingers, then you use your feet, and all of a sudden you run out of 10 fingers, 10 toes, and there's no more, you know, you don't have any more ability to plug those holes up, and guess what happens? All of a sudden you've got a terminal illness. And you go, what's happened? This hasn't happened in 1 day or 1 week or 1 year. There's no way in hell. Yeah, this stuff is festered. This is systemic. This happens over, you know, years and years of poor nourishment, treating yourself with disrespect. Not kind of, you know, you don't have to be too hard on yourself. This is just layer on layer on layer. This is just slowly pulling 1 brick from that foundation or from that house, that 2-story house. 1 brick, 2 brick, you know, 1 brick a month, and all of a sudden you get through, you know, not so much 24 or 48 months later. It's generally about 5 years down the track, 10 years down the track, and all of a sudden you're left standing with 1 bearer when there should be 6 bearers holding this platform up, and all of a sudden it comes crumbling down, and they say, oh shit, you know, like, why did it happen to me? It's because people aren't really looking at what they're doing now. They need to change and really have a good hard look at what they're doing on a day-to-day basis now. Like we've said also, as things don't happen overnight, it is really about changing what you do, and it's about repetition over 12 months, over 3 years, over 5 years. And what we've implemented now with the My Zone, like, they've put things and metrics in there to measure what you're doing, and you have to become, you know, your greatest over not 1 workout or 10 workouts or 6 months or 12 months. You've got to try and create 1, 3, 5 years of worth of consistency within your exercise to then become a true performer, to become a true leader. One of the Avengers that we were talking about, what we kind of pride ourselves in, like in High Performance Fathers, it's really about being consistent, not over a day or a week or a month. It is really about consistency over 1, 3, 5, 10 years. And again, like I'm saying, it's not really about having to be some crazy, like nutrition plan to follow or some crazy exercise program to follow. It's really about the 80-20 rule. And that's really how simple it is. If you're having 3 meals a day and you look at 7 days a week, that's 21 meals. 2 of those meals, let your head down. Yeah. But the other 19, you really need to be sensible in what you're doing, because in all honesty, like you look around now and we're almost in an epidemic with obesity, etc. We have incredible amounts of technology and we've got access to all of this stuff. Yet we're getting fatter, we're getting sicker, we're becoming a sicker nation, a global, like a planet, and then they talk about, oh, no, like we've got so much information out there. But the trouble is, people may look at the information, but they don't implement it. They're not following what we're trying to give them for any long period of time. Yeah, I get it. The thing is, people just really need to kind of, look up and see what's happening in front of them and not worry about what's behind them. They need to take control now and then implement the strategies that we're implementing and we're taking them through, and their life will change within 3 months. That's how quick we can change people's lives. And then once that change around, those changes are implemented, then all of a sudden, all the metrics that we use, you'll be able to see that just time and time again. And listen, life's not easy. Life's a gift and we have to work on it every day, including our wealth, our health, our relationship, you name it. Everything that we're doing in life, we have to work on it. And your health is the most important thing. And that's what I believe in. And that's what we're aiming to do for everyone.
Mm. Isn't it funny, the irony, Ken? Like you'll consistently let your life spiral out of control and turn the ship. You don't want to consistently improve it again, right? We look for all right, I've neglected myself for this long now. Just give me the fucking answer and let me get back on top. It doesn't work that way. Not as an organism. You might be able to create an immediate change with some sort of software program on a computer, but that's not how the body, the mind, and the soul works. Because when you're looking at that, or spirit, your consciousness in what you've programmed yourself, your belief systems, everything that ties into your emotions, your thoughts, there are so many different complexities that you're really throwing a spanner in the works when you're not slowly unwinding everything that you've just fucking wound up for such a long period of time. And it's crazy, Ken. The common theme I see here is stop. You said stop and look up. That's a great point. Like people are just either their heads buried in the sand or they're so zoomed in on their own life they don't even stop and look up. This is a common theme, actually. I'm just thinking, mate, because I love processing as I listen to you and other guests. It's in a lot of our episodes. It really is. Stop, call it create space, call it whatever you want, but just stop, fucking slow down, man. Have a look up and do some sort of self-analysis or self-review of your life and where it's going. You can't do that if you're burying your head inside of the everyday challenges that we face, but you're not doing something about it so you can handle the whirlwind of life, to be able to handle the chaos of these everyday challenges that try and chip away at you bit by bit. And the next thing you know, like, where are we? We're nearly, 39 days away from the end of the year. And then another year's gone, another year. It's 2025, it's 2028. And, we can get pretty quick change, and we do, Ken. We can create some amazing, effective and efficient results because of how intensive we are and our approach in it being completely dialed into the individual. But it doesn't mean it's a silver bullet or a quick fix. But it is interesting because you can create pretty good change in a pretty reasonable amount of time. But then over the longer game, like I said, 1, 3, and 5 years, you're shedding the skin and becoming an entirely new version. Like, is it every 7 years or something like that? You'd know better than me, but there's a period of time where years pass and you literally have regenerated an entire new version of you, to a degree, with a lot of the different systems and blood and everything. I think blood's every 90 days, but something's going on where you're literally recycling yourself. And What a phenomenal thing, mate. In the gift of life, you have that opportunity. Those listening to this where you have self-sabotage or maybe not like the young bloke who just fucking done himself in, which is just crazy, man. Like I just can't, I've lost friends who from 16 years of age up are dead, and how much life they've already missed out on, mate, is crazy, crazy. Even some of my mates in their 30s and 40s, I'm like, they're never going to see their kids grow up. And that's one of our episodes, before we throw back to you, Ken, on the solution here, which I think you touched on, in some of the fundamentals. Definitely the first step is stopping and looking up. But one of the episodes I did before was the greatest gamble you'll make. And too often guys are sitting there going, yeah, even if you don't say it, you're thinking it. Or even if you're not thinking it, through not doing fucking something about it, you're inadvertently agreeing to it. I've still got time. There's still something I can do about it. The would-ofs, should-ofs, could-ofs, gonna-has. It's crazy, man. You still have time, do you? You think you'll turn around, do you really? What happens if this happens or that happens? And there are so many different things where someone looks strong as an ox and they just keep powering, all the adversity, blah, blah, and one little fucking pissy thing happens, bang, that's the straw. That's the straw that broke the camel's back. But it's because of a collective of so much laboring that's happened over a chronic period in the most important period for men, which is generally, I call it a 20-year transition, which is why you win the second half, but generally 35 to 55. That's where the breakdowns happen. That's where half the population is divorced, bang on 56. That's where, they don't worry about midlife crisis. Men break down. Men fucking die. They have heart attacks, strokes. They fall apart. And you don't need to be fucking 180 kilos for that either. But you can't gamble on things pissing in the wind without building the awareness or knowledge on where you actually are right now and thinking that she'll be right. I'll figure it out. How? You're ignorant. You don't even know where you are right now. You haven't even peeled back the facts of life to what the risks actually are. How do we turn this around, Ken? Life's everyday challenges. What do we do? What is the solution?
Mate, it's the poor habits that people don't realize that they're poor habits within their life, like neglecting your body now. Yeah. And even more now, because people don't realize that they have poor energy or poor health. They don't understand kind of what poor health is all about. It's because they just go in and go through their routine. From the moment they wake up, they go through their normal routine. What's their normal routine? In most cases, some might skip breakfast. They might get a coffee. They might grab something on the run. They might kind of grab a snack, a sandwich, something at lunchtime or whatever else. And then all of a sudden work through till late afternoon, get home, and then all of a sudden have a dinner. And then this is just repeat, this repetition, repeat. And then slowly over a month, 3 months, 6 months, 5 years, they start to gain this weight. But when you're doing something that is so embedded in routine, you kind of, you don't realize what's going on because you're just in that same pattern over and over and over again until something detrimental happens, some emotional thing happens, whether someone else tells you there's they've recognized someone who has just been diagnosed with a terminal illness or whatever else. And then every now and then that might just create a trigger, and then you go, hey, shit, listen, I wonder what happened to them. I wonder what it was that caused them to get cancer or to get some kind of terminal illness and whatever else. And then kind of you might sit down and reflect a little bit. You start to kind of ask yourself questions. What happens if that happens to me? What happens if someone close to me actually gets diagnosed with cancer? And these things here, and then all of a sudden, that's kind of the time when people become reactive. And what we're all about is becoming proactive. And the big thing here is that, like what we said at the start, these things will fester over years, not generally days, weeks, or months, but these things will fester over years. And in most cases, people think, well, shit, you know what? It's too late. I'm 50, I'm 55, I'm 60, I'm 65. It's too late for me because my days of exercising, my days of trying to structure good eating and stuff like that, my days of kind of making myself look good, feel good, that's all over because I'm in a routine now where, hey, I'm married, I've got kids. Hey, the kids are growing up. They're not far off of leaving at home. And then, you know what, maybe I'll start something then. Well, then guess what? You may not see that time. You may not see the time where your grandchildren are born, your grandchildren are born, and you have no energy, no anything to be able to participate in looking after the grandchildren or participate in going to the school and, you know, kind of getting involved in stuff that your kids are doing. Like, I pride myself on to be able to see my grandchildren and to grow up, and I want to be better than anyone else. I want to be the best grandfather, you know, within I'm going to be there for my grandchildren. Like, the whole idea is it's what we advocate is about looking after the life, you know, in the years that we're here. And this is what I have constant conversations with people. It's really about finding out what you want to do over the next 10, 20, 30 years of your life. If you're at 50 years old now, there's not a lot of time as far as to enjoy that life with your children and grandchildren. You've seen them come through potentially, well, most people that I know don't see them come through primary school. They don't see them come through high school because they're too busy working and not really taking an interest in your children, because generally they're leaving that to their wife in most cases. That's what's happened with 90% of the people that I know. But what I'm all about is trying to participate, trying to make it 50-50 within the household, and making sure that you share the workload, but also with sporting things and everything else, be a part of their life, actually be present within their life. So, and you cannot be present if all of a sudden you've got so much work on and your health isn't that good. And so come the end of that day, you don't have the energy or the time or the ability to actually spend time with your children, your wife. You don't have that time left. And that's why you've got to really sit back and reflect on what's going on now and what can we do moving forward. And you've got to set some goals in place. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. And then we need to measure everything moving forward. We really need to be measuring things so that we can show you how well you're improving. So that gives you the confidence to keep moving in that right direction, one step at a time. It's like looking at you know, the nutrition. It's looking at exercise. And when I'm talking to people, people are looking for the magic bullets, the magic pill. They're looking for something that's fancy, that's something that is kind of, you know, as far as, say, when it comes to nutrition, should I be doing this? Should I be weighing all my food? Should I be looking at how much of this and how much of that? You know, at the start, it doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to be simple. Eat whole foods, get enough sleep, move a little more, do a little bit of mobility. Simple things like that is going to change your world around within 12 weeks. That's going to completely change your world around. And that's why right now, because of the routine that so many people are just stuck in this rut, they really don't know what quality of life is all about. They really don't know what healthy is all about. And that's why when I ask most people, like, how do you feel that your sleep's going? How do you kind of, you know, like, even though your head's on the pillow from potentially 10 o'clock at night through to 6 in the morning, that's 8 hours. But in reality, do you get up, you know, with a spring in your step and you feel great the next morning? And if you're not, even though your head's on the pillow for 8 hours, you may have closed your eyes for 6 of them or 7 of them or whatever it is. But if your quality of sleep's not there, well, then we've got to look at your food. We've got to look at what structure or what kind of little strategies we need to put in place so that we can start body hacking your sleep, then into nutrition. And at the end of the day, we really need to know what are the red flags, what are the symptoms that we need to approach now, and what are literally life's challenges on a day-to-day basis so that we can actually go in and go after those horrible things that are causing you the most disruptions throughout your day. And then we come up with a strategy to implement one step at a time. And that's the key.
Yeah, amazing points. Amazing points, Ken. You know, I look at, I just made a couple of notes on that as well. You're going to use the time anyway, right? Like if you are blessed or lucky enough to hit the average, because plenty do, plenty don't, plenty go above. That's why I guess it's called the average. But it's not just living to 81 or 82 years of age as a man in Australia. It's going, okay, well, what was the quality like? Am I actually even going to get there? Maybe I'll live to be 61. You know, that's not that far away. But even if you live to be 81, you're going to use the time anyway. So what are you going to do with it? Like, what are you going to do with it? You want to be the most amazing, and I don't wish my life away, but there's parts of me that can't wait to be a grandfather, because I'm like, fuck, it's going to be so cool. Like, I'm going to be high energy and playing with the kids and just going to, you know, it's not about comparing to other kids' grandfathers. You know, I'll be setting a standard in myself, which will be an admirable one at that, because of exactly everything you said then, mate. Valuing life and then removing and cutting poor habits. Actually knowing, like you said, you know, they don't even know what health is. So they don't even have that awareness, or it's been that long since they've felt it. Just drinking alcohol every day and just moving through the motions and having the stimulants to lift you up, the alcohol to zonk you out and numb everything, and the technology to pull you away and sedate and distract you. And it's like, oh, it's just normal. Like, it just feels normal now that I should wake up this way. And it feels normal that I have alcohol, you know, 5-6 times a week or 5-6 nights a week. And it's crazy, man. Like, when I look at that, but if you're 50 years of age, if you use half of that time, like, so they're already 50, Ken, they use half of that time, they're 75, bang. Like, you are getting closer, like, so much closer. But then at that stage, it's too fucking late already, because these people, not for everyone, there's exceptions to the rule, but that's a very rare exception to the rule, you know, because you're getting so much closer to not only the biological age, but the chronological age of what us as human beings live to. But the biological age is probably 130, because you've flogged your body for that long. It's like, man, even if I want to turn it around, I just don't have the juice. I just don't have the energy, the gusto, don't have the neural pathways to even connect the dots and go, well, this is what I need to do. The biomechanics are gone. Like, it's sad, mate, but love some of those points you said there. Stop and reflect, set some goals, and they must be measurable. I mean, look, you guys can go and get high performance habits and fucking atomic habits and tiny habits and all the habits books that appeal to people from all walks of life. But what we're dialing in for you as a man is getting primal again, tracking the right numbers, pulling those levers as a man to go out and fucking hunt life and be a true leader and stand up, have that accountability, make those declarations, don't be a liar. You know, you can lie to yourself, don't lie to others. Make those open public declarations. But the goals are a good one with deadlines. You know, deadlines are powerful things, but love those points, Ken. What would be your take, you know, on, or what's your advice with these guys, right? Okay, reflect, set goals, measure them, but what's your advice on really eliminating a poor habit and finding and then bringing in a good or great habit? Like, what would be, you know, because this is obviously how we start to handle the challenges of everyday life. It's like, okay, well, let's take one out, let's fuck one off, and let's plug one in. Piss another one off, plug one in. What does that look like? I know we've got reflect, goals, and measure, but what's your advice around that, mate, and bringing in a good habit and cutting away a shit one?
Yep. So I suppose first is really like what we're talking about is someone don't or people really don't know what good health is. So where we start is we're going after something that it only takes a very minimal time to implement, and to be able to implement a little bit of breath work, which is so simple, to be able to then look at how they feel over a 3-day period. And the reason why I go after breath work is because without oxygen, we're dead. That's the way it is. Yeah, that's the fastest, the most easiest thing that we can change every biological process within your body. Okay, it affects everything we do from the moment, you know, we're of existence within this world. Breath is the most important thing. And so what I look at is that as we start to breathe and we start to look at how we breathe and how that affects every biological process and how that affects our posture also, that's the easiest thing that I can implement for anyone. What we've done, as you know, Al, is we've put in a morning routine and a nighttime routine. Straight away, if you want to improve your sleep, you have to start thinking about implementing some breath work. And this is the one that I'll implement for everyone right now. What we're looking at is we're trying to slow the breath work down. What we're trying to do here is look at breathing lightly, slowly, and we're trying to breathe deeply so that we can actually adapt or kind of tap into our diaphragm. So what we're trying to do here, the cadence, the numbers that we're looking for, it should be in through your nose and out through your nose. It should be a nice 4-second inhale through your nose and a 6-second exhale out through your nose. Now that's 10 seconds. 1 minute is 6 breaths. You're looking at 4 minutes. This is the biggest thing that you can make and implement or change in your body right now. This will affect everything, no matter what you're doing. Your mental state, your physiological state, your chemical state, everything that goes on in your body right now, 4 minutes a day, nothing else. But make sure you're either lying down relaxed or you're sitting down somewhere where, in case you do get a little bit lightheaded and fall off the chair, or you kind of, you want to be somewhere where you feel comfortable and safe. The big thing with that, you want to put your both hands on your lower rib cage, and you want to be able to feel when you're breathing in through your nose, you want to be able to feel that rib cage expand. Because what that means, if that lower rib cage is expanding, well, then you're going to start tapping into the physiological, so your biomechanics. You're going to start to actually get that diaphragm moving, which will then pump the spleen, which is where the richest oxygenated blood is within your body. And if you want to light up your life first thing in the morning, 4 minutes, 4 seconds in through your nose with your hands on the lower rib cage, making sure that you're breathing into that. So you're trying to push out into your hands. This is the biggest thing you can do right now. I'll extend your longevity, your life right now. Doesn't matter what health you're in right now, I'll put 10 years on your life just by doing that. 4 minutes a day. That's how simple it is. So if you can't find 4 minutes, well, then you shouldn't be listening to us. You should switch off now and fuck right off. That's the first thing I should say. If you cannot find 4 minutes a day to implement this right now, you know what? Don't call me, don't talk to me, because you know what? You don't give a shit and you're not willing to make those changes right now. And that's it in a nutshell. That's how simple life can be right now. And if you can't do that, don't ask me for some busted ass nutrition program that's going to start looking at your macros, your micros, and everything else. And don't start asking for some really functional kind of exercise program that's going to make all the difference because you've got a knee problem. Listen, you know what? If you can't breathe, this is affecting everything that you do right now. That's it. There's nothing else that I can say other than implement that right now.
Yeah, it's 4 minutes, man. Like if you can't even value yourself enough to do that, you deserve exactly what you get. Like, and that's neither Ken nor I wishing that on you. It's just the amount of people, mate, who just throw their hands in the air, Ken, with confusion. How did this happen? Why did this happen to me? It's fucking, mate, I shouldn't be laughing, but I'm laughing because that's how much of a joke it is. Like, you throw your hands in the air and you're like, what do you mean? You're surprised? How? What? You've been that fucking busy. You've been that delusional. You've obviously not aligned your internal and external reality, regardless of feelings, regardless of obviously the facts that don't exist or the wrong set of facts that you have. You know, it's savage, mate. Like 4 minutes, that's a great one. It really is, and it's such a good. Yeah, even diving into the oxygen-rich blood and all, like people in general want to take the path of least resistance, just like we are, Ken, because that's the low-hanging fruit, man. Like you said, we don't need to worry about complex nutritional plan. Fucking breathe, mate. Breathe for 4 minutes. But unfortunately, somewhere along the lines, there's been a bit of a misperception, strangely enough. Not that I like that word, but that's what it is. There's confusion between what the path of least resistance in growing who you are as a human being wholesomely and wholeheartedly, or the low-hanging fruit, and shortcuts. Like, they're two completely different paths. Like, the path of least resistance is not a shortcut. It's just not at all. Like, it doesn't make sense. A shortcut is a mindset approach that sweeps under the rug the true facts of life and adopts whatever may yield the fastest superficial result with anything. Take health or nutrition aside, like anything. You take shortcuts, you will get burned. You will reap what you sow. And, you know, what cracks me up, mate, is how people just say they're busy. Like, I don't have time. I can't do that. I don't even have 4 minutes a day. I'm like, you're really? You're kidding me. Like, my life is fucking crazy, Ken. Like, it's crazy. I don't like saying it's busy, but my life is savage with 3 kids, tracking my sleep, doing everything with you, because obviously you're helping me with everything I need. I'm intelligent. I'm being fucking smart. Guess what I'm doing? I'm outsourcing shit that I don't need to worry about anymore, which means I'm freeing up my head. I'm outsourcing my problems. Hey, Ken, Here's my problem. So now guess what, guys? Ken's taking my problem that I want to have energy. I want to make sure I'm getting sharper in my body shape and physiology. I want to get fitter again. I want to improve my sleep. I want to perform. And guess what? This all ties back into how I can turn up for my relationships. This all ties back into what we're doing here now. So Ken inadvertently, through absorbing Al's problems and what Al needs to do in his health, because that's his jam, that's what he does, now creates a solution, which means I don't have to process or think nearly as much as I thought I needed to. I just go out and fucking do. So Ken inadvertently is helping this business grow purely by looking after me in the area where I may not have the mental capacity. This is the crazy part. Now, that is not a call to action to say, hey, you need to sign up or join us. Like, you fucking do whatever you want. But the whole lone wolf, self-made, all that sort of shit is burning you, man. It's going to burn anyone who takes that path more often than not for a longer period of time. You know, it's just, it's a given. Like even with a lot of my marketing and advertising, I've got a phenomenal team that I've got 30 hours back in my life, Ken. So this is the thing. It's like, okay, my life is crazy. Make no mistake, but I'm also leveraging what I can to make sure that my mental capacity is as free as free as possible. I'm focusing on my zone of genius, on what I do well, what I deliver, and what I love doing. I love doing everything, but there's obviously different areas of being a leader inside of this movement we've created that I serve best and I am the best at. So I focus on that area, and it just baffles me, man, when I get people like, and I'm not saying you guys listening are less busier than me. What I'm saying is it baffles me when people come and they go, oh, I don't have any time, man. I've got no time at all. I'm like, man, I've got 3 young kids. I'm tracking my sleep. I'm waking up fucking 12 times a night because of my kids and some of the issues they've had. Like, I've got fucking crazy shit going in my life. Guess what? I still spend time with my children, still spend time with my wife. My body's in fucking amazing shape and it's sharpening up even more. We've got an amazing team. We're delivering a phenomenal program. We're building our program out. We're delivering more courses next year. We keep building. I've got amazing men around me like Ken. Like, what I look at, I'm doing, Ken, this isn't just to make it about me. What I'm doing now, this to me is fucking way easier than what a lot of these people are probably going through. Like, this is actually, but it's not a shortcut. I've earned that right. This is hard work, but it's way easier than the alternative. Go forward 10, 15, 20 years. I'm broken down either in my marriage and my health and my body and my kids. They don't want to know about me. I work too much. I took too much on my own. That's way harder, man, that realization, because it's obviously already too late. But 4 minutes to change your life. And what better tool than the vessel that gives us life? Breathing, oxygen. It's been a solid episode, Ken. We all have everyday challenges, right? But the question is, what are you doing about it? Are you just accepting it, or are you actually doing something about it? What would you say? Like, what's your final thoughts on this, Ken? And I guess last piece of advice you want to give to our listeners for today?
Mate, I suppose really, again, the big thing is for me is that a lot of people don't really know what the symptoms are unless it's causing them pain or discomfort. And so what you kind of tapped into earlier on hours is really about outsourcing. And this is what people need to do because they don't really know what true health is all about. And so by tapping into what we're doing, and especially here at High Performance Fathers, what you'll find is we'll be able to recognize those symptoms straight away. We'll be able to look at the individual aspects of what's going on in your life, and then to be able to troubleshoot every one of those to be able to give you better strategies on how to deal with it. And then as we measure that, we'll be able to show you where you're at now and where you're going over the next 1, 3, 5, 7, 12 weeks and beyond that. And we'll be able to troubleshoot that every time. So make sure that right now, you don't necessarily need to know what the symptoms are, but once you present those, as far as say, you present the information, then we can then start to troubleshoot that for you. So don't think that you have to all of a sudden, become an expert and recognize this stuff. This is where we're the experts. We come in and we recognize this for you, and we put the strategies in place to create, your optimized health. That's what it's all about.
Great episode, Ken. Loved it, mate. And couldn't agree more. Like, getting your life back, winning the second half, like, you can just rattle it off, right? It's just an easy term. Yeah. Get your life back on track. What you just said then is fucking priceless, mate. Like, I don't think people realize enough. Like, it's just priceless. It really is, I love painting extremes in perspective. So let's go to someone, okay, old mate's got $3 billion. Would you rather have 3 billion? I'm not going to say 3 billion, not 1 billion, because obviously there's a compound effect. Would you rather have $3 billion and your family fucking hates you and you've got no connection and you've gone so far one way and you haven't outsourced, you haven't done the right things to create what we believe and what we know, because I'd love someone to challenge the standard, a real fucking success as a man in the modern world, which is family, self, and service, all of them, not one of them, not two of them, all of them? Or would you rather have maybe $150 million, maybe $50 million, maybe 14, but you've actually lived life. You've created a legacy for your children off the back of your own. You're connected to life. You're experiencing life. And I know that's going for the kill in that extreme of an example, but sometimes that's what we need. That pattern interrupt to go, yes, he's right. But it's not even the money. It's a byproduct of where you've invested the two most valuable things you'll never get back. That's my point, time and energy. You can't spend 2 billion of that 3 billion and say, all right, let's wind it back. Let's build a time machine. Let's have my daughter's 5th birthday party again. That's fucking gone. Like, that's sailed. And a large portion of not even the experiences you have, but of creating the right experiences comes down to you actually looking after yourself, your health, limiting the chaos, and being present in those times as well. That's invaluable. Great session, Ken. Appreciate your time, mate, as always. And I hope you guys got a lot of value too.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy and start implementing.
Absolutely. 4 minutes. 4 minutes, change your life. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.